Hi everyone, it's Diane from Tattered Edges Design, back once again with the rest of my Christmas journals. Which made a liar out of me? I forgot about this one. So there's a total of 8 in my shop, not 7. So let's get on with it. This one is 5 inches across and 5.5 this way. This is fabric, which is probably from the 90s. It's a 5-hole stitch binding, same on the back, some lace. It's stitched to scrapbook paper, so it's kind of flexible. So here we have a side pocket with a tag I made. That's scrapbook paper, and a place to write your title or name, whatever. It's scrapbook, ledger, also old fabric, probably from the 90s, early 2000s. Scrapbook. Try to go a little quick here since we have 3. Sorry, I just bumped the camera. These are my ice skates. You might have seen them in a previous video, but this one I cut out. Scrapbook paper. This is vintage. This is similar to that Coke thing in the other video. It was a freebie in cartons of 7-Up, so you could cut it apart or leave it as is. It's a treat bag that's newish, a couple years old. And the pocket's made out of scrapbook paper. This coloring page, washi, scrapbook, tickets with a pocket. This is a page out of the Rudolph book I showed before. Scrapbook, just a little note paper, graph. This is vintage Christmas tissue, watercolor on the graph paper. This is from the Babar Christmas book I also showed earlier. It's kind of cute. And we're going back now, so this is the same graph paper with watercolor on it. This is a vintage playing card. It's quite old, I imagine, because it looks very deco-y. Scrapbook paper flip. This is another one of my flashcards on my digital set in my shop. I'm not sure where I cut that. I think that's scrapbook paper. And those are just punched cardstock dots to look like holly. The Rudolph page. This is a tag I made. You can write on it. Mostly scrapbook images there. A flip. The coloring book. This is the scrapbook with some washi. Fabric. This is the ledger paper with a sticker. Yeah, okay, it's a sticker on a piece of scrapbook paper. Scrapbook. That's a reproduction sticker that was vintage. This is actual cross stitch I made, little tiny cross stitch piece. Actual stamp, old one. It's a gold doily, that's new. Coffee dyed, scrapbook. This is another one of those smash papers out of a smash pad. Scrapbook paper, little washi. This is a stamp album page with a vintage sticker on it. It says 1981 right on it. Another one, that's not too old. Some of you probably remember those. It's just a little piece of scrapbook paper on there. It's a vintage cookbook page, coffee dyed graph. This is a little flip. Tissue, I think it's actually tracing paper. Book page. So here's the middle. Now we're going to go back the other way. This is a there it is, journaling card, scrapbook paper. This is a altered playing card I made. It's a napkin on a playing card. It's a little scrapbook image. That's an off the internet, an old Kodak ad for Christmas. Graph, fabric, the cookbook, a little scrapbook image. That was scrapbook image. The stamp page. It's a tag similar to one that was in another journal I already showed. That's the very old Christmas tree stamp, rubber stamp I have from like the 20s or 30s. Scrapbook, coffee dyed. That's another copy of a vintage sticker. There's the doily, a few little pages here. Scrapbook. This is a note paper and a color it yourself journaling card. and the back, as you may recall. I don't remember if I mentioned there's 64 pages in this. Okay. Okay, on to number 2. This one is also 64 pages. It is 5 inches across, 6 3/4 this way, 5-hole stitch binding, which you can see. It too is fabric probably from the 90s, stitched to scrapbook. Pocket with an altered bingo card I made. This is an off the internet book plate I fussy cut and put on there. It's scrapbook paper, graph. That's a vintage postcard image off the internet. This is graph paper with watercolor paint on it. This is also vintage fabric, flip there. That's graph, ledger paper, sorry, ledger paper. Tag I made, keep right on. Scrapbook, this is a Christmas card from the 90s, maybe early 2000s. Scrapbook, vintage book page. This is a tag I made similar to the other ones you've seen. This pocket that flips out. Legal paper, scrapbook image. Book page, but talks about Christmas cactus there. This is a little tiny flip. This is actually a metal brad. I don't know if you can see that. Kind of cute. This just looks like a cookie. A little scrapbook paper there. This is out of a book, but I thought it looked sort of, you know, family gathering for the big dinner there. A child's book. Now we're going back. This is the plant paper. A little pocket with a simple little card in there. Legal paper. This is the child's book page again. Fabric. This is the back of that Christmas card that had the cats on it. Rubber stamp, some vintage ribbon. This is an off the internet piece. It's kind of cute. Note paper. And just a pocket with some washi. It's an internet image with a little bit of cheesecloth there. Graph paper with watercolor paint on it. The same vintage tissue as you've been seeing. Scrap paper. Actual Christmas seals. Fabric. Scrapbook paper image. I don't remember what that was. I think it's off the internet, but I really don't remember. Anyway, it's cute. This is a vintage book page. There's a little glassine envelope here. That is a vintage Hallmark sticker on there. This just has a few little bits and pieces in it. Some of these are Tim Holtz. Little piece of ribbon. And a Rudolph page. This is more like a bookmark. It's an old one I made in '09. Another flashcard from my set. This is an no, it's a scrapbook image I cut out. The stamp album page. Here's a cross-stitch piece in this one I did. Coffee dyed. Christmas seal. This is an old sewing book page. And here is also one of those 7-Up freebies in the carton things. It's actually pretty heavy cardstock too. Coloring book. This is a copy of a Christmas card. Obviously this is from How the Grinch Stole Christmas. It's from a book. Washi, coloring book. A treat bag, just like in the other book. The sewing page again, a copy. This flips out. This is vintage trim. The stamp page again, Rudolph again. That's a copy of the old sticker. Book page, washi. What does this do? Folds out. Washi. That's yeah, I'm not sure. Could be scrapbook, could be vintage copy. I'm not sure. Looks vintage, doesn't it? This is a flashcard I altered. Those are pieces out of a napkin, and I gessoed it. Pocket, obviously, and the back again. Okay, on to the last one. This one is different. It is a repurposed hardback cover. It is 7 inches across, 7 3/4 up and down. It is 72 pages. There's fabric on the spine. You can see the binding there is 5-hole. I did a little spattering to make it look like snow. This is, I believe, scrapbook paper in the back. I think this is scrapbook too, but you can find this image on the internet. These are scrapbook. This is an actual, those German die cuts you buy that, you know, they're like a bunch of Santas in a row and you cut it apart. That's one of those. Little washi. And there's a pocket right here in front. I adhered some old sheet music here. It's a scrapbook image. These square things are actual bingo markers right on the back. And here's an off the internet old book plate. You can write your name or whatever. Coloring book page, coffee dye graph paper. It's a scrapbook poinsettia fabric. Those are Christmas seals once again, and so are these. This is scrapbook paper. This is a instructions for cross stitch. It's pretty heavy. It's one of those leaflet things. It's a plant page out of a book. Here's an old ATC I made from 2016. These are actual stamps. Fabric flip. This is scrapbook paper. Some stamping, some punched snowflakes. That's scrapbook paper. And here we have some ledger sewn to paper. I think that's notebook paper back there. That is, I believe, scrapbook paper Santa there. There's another one of my flashcards. This is an envelope for my Christmas card. This was not the original stamp on it. I added that. And here's another one of those tags. I made a bunch of them at once. And there's some washi on it. It's the book page. I thought it was kind of appropriate with the spruces there. And pine cones. And yes, another 7-Up freebie tag thing. A scrapbook. This is scrapbook paper with another little envelope and just a plain little card in there. And legal paper sewn to coffee dyed paper. I think that's a sticker, somewhat current, from the 2000s. This is scrapbook paper. Child's dictionary page with scrapbook images. This has been gessoed. A skating scene there, how appropriate. This is out of a child's book with some fabric. And my noisy neighbors are coming home, please just ignore them. Christmas Carol there. Another doily, which is new again. This is off an old 50s or 60s Christmas card. It's a dictionary page on the same cake recipe that's in the other book. It's just watercolor on an index card. Stamp album page, scrapbook image here, and I put some tinsel icicles behind it. This is scrapbook paper. It's coffee dyed on old sewing book page, little scrapbook image. This is a Grinch Who Stole Christmas page. Oh, there he is. It's a Christmas card, not too old, from the 2000s. This is an internet image. Some washi. The other side of the Grinch. Another one of those Santa note papers. And this is ledger sewn to the sewing book. This is washi, scrapbook paper, candy canes, and this one is a rubber stamp. And here is the cross stitch in this one, candles. A rubber stamp there. This is an internet image of an old postcard. On the other side of the doily and the other side of that book page, they're at the table there. This is vintage trim, vintage fabric, a tag I made and I turned it into a little tuck pocket thing. The scrapbook paper, That's an image off a Christmas card from within the last 10 years or so. Gessoed, another one of my flashcards, little scrap paper there. Fabric flip. Hallmark sticker, probably from the 80s. Flips out, rubber stamps there. This obviously is sewn together. This is the other side of that spruce tree image. It's a sticker. It's a little tiny gold envelope with scrap of paper and trim. A little Cupid there is kind of cute. And a little card in there. And here's the bottom of those trees. This is just a scrap of paper journaling spot. That's kind of cute. And there's that envelope again. There's watercolor on notebook. Flips out some fabric. Here's another one of the altar playing cards I made with napkin and some paint. This is just scrap of paper. Write on it. It's a relatively new sticker. Mistletoe cactus. Actually, I never heard of that. It's the other side of that cross stitch pattern. And a color it yourself card. That's scrapbook. This is scrapbook paper. Rubber stamps. This is scrapbook and the vintage tissue that keeps repeating itself here. Coloring book and the treat bag in here. That flips up. And on the back is a more like a bookmark size journaling card I made. And a pocket, obviously, with the same sheet music on the back. So, I hope this didn't take too long. Here they all are. They're in my shop. And I should probably make a little disclaimer here. All these Christmas journals, I did actually make a year ago. I made them last year. But here they are in my shop now. So thank you very much for viewing. Thanks for sticking with me, and have a good day.